Hey guys, AJ here, back in another one. So today we're going to talk about a particular story out of Atlanta where a mother of four gets deleted by her ex-girlfriend, who was jealous, who was stalking her for like 6 years. But before we jump into that, guys, please like and subscribe. And so there's a couple studies that actually do show that same-sex relationships with women, there's more domestic violence there. So the whole myth is that DV is usually men just whooping up on women, and that isn't true because there's newer studies that actually show that the DV rate with heterosexual men and women is the same. So men get whooped on as much by their girlfriends as women do by their boyfriends and husbands. And I would actually say that it's probably more because women know that they can get away with it. So I pulled up a stat here. And if you look at this is from the DC Volunteer Lawyers Project website. And look, it says, Black and African American members of the LGBTQIA plus community are more likely to experience physical violence. And around 44% of lesbian and 61% of bisexual women have experienced forms of R-word and physical violence by an intimate partner as compared to 35% of straight women. So look at those numbers there. That means that if 44% of lesbians as compared to 35% of cis, straight, whatever the terms are women. So that's proof right there, numbers-wise, that a lot of women who engage in same-sex relationships are more prone to DV. So let's just jump into this story here. This is by the Crime Board, and let's just jump into it.
2022, Corneisha Butler, a mother of four, was tragically murdered in a fit of rage by her jealous ex-girlfriend, Shakia Perkins. Shakia was unable to accept
That's a tough-looking chick right there, man.
Corneisha's desire for happiness after they broke up, so she did everything in her power to destroy her before killing her. For 6 years, Corneisha and Shakia were in a highly volatile relationship. They were both from Memphis, Tennessee, and moved to Atlanta, Georgia for better opportunities. Once they arrived in Atlanta, things took a turn for the worse. They didn't get along, were constantly fighting, and their relationship grew toxic. Deciding that she needs a much...
Now, here's the thing about these types of relationships. And guys, all of us have had that crazy ex or that girl that's just nuts. And the thing is, in these types of relationships, men tend to be the ones to walk away if there's some type of conflict. If she starts throwing stuff or whatever, usually men leave. If you get to the point to where you're a guy and you're about to go off, oftentimes men leave. Or you at least grab her wrists or something, you know what I'm saying? But with two women, they're just going to keep going off on each other, There's no voice of reason there.
Needed break from the relationship, Corneisha ends the relationship. Shakia, on the other hand, doesn't take this lightly. She begins to threaten, stalk, and harass Corneisha. She tries every scary, manipulative tactic there is to get her attention. On September 13th, 2021, Shakia attempted to run Corneisha off the road, and although she managed to get away unharmed, her car had damages to both the passenger and driver side. But when
So she did the Grand Theft Auto, you know what I'm saying? She tried to run her off the road, like Vice City, and I read the actual news article when this woman tried to run her off the road. The mother here had two of her kids in the car.
Corneisha was able to get to a safe place, she immediately texted her friend about the terrifying situation. She wrote, "Fool Shakia just tried to run off the road." Her friend responded, "What do you mean she tried to hurt herself or she tried to run you off the road?" Corneisha responded, "Yes, she hit my car both ways." 2 weeks later, on September 25th, 2021,
you notice how they said she didn't call the cops right there?
Officers responded to Corneisha's home about a vehicle being on fire. When they arrived, they saw her Jeep Wrangler engulfed in flames in the driveway. The flames then moved to Corneisha's Mercedes-Benz that was parked next to it. Corneisha had been home at the time with her boyfriend and her 4 children when she saw orange lights and noticed that her vehicles were on fire in her driveway.
So she was at the house This is a mother of four, guys, who was going with this, with her girlfriend and broke up and having all this talk. And there was another new dude in there with her. Guys, why would anyone date this type of woman? I don't care how fine you think she is or whatever. If she's got some crazy ex, a bunch of kids, guys, just move on.
Corneisha immediately suspected Shakia as the person who set her cars on fire. Shakia had been harassing Corneisha for several weeks and had been threatening to get rid of her. The neighbor, luckily, had a Ring camera that caught the vehicle matching Shakia's car approach the driveway right before the fire occurred. And Corneisha's cousin, who had just arrived at the scene, advised officers that when she was on her way to the residence, she saw Shakia in her car leaving the subdivision. She had arrived just as the first vehicle was starting to engulf in flames. Shakia was subsequently charged with 4 felony charges, but released on bond after spending only 8 days in jail. Wanting Shakia out of her life permanently and taking steps to protect herself and her children.
8 days in jail, guys. And this is funny that we, as guys in the manosphere and stuff, always talk about how they want equality, but it's funny how men get worse time for the same crimes. Now, if this was a guy doing this, they'd have buried him under the jail. But because this person was a woman, they only gave her 8 days.
Corneisha files for a protective order. She is giving a 12-month restraining order against her ex by a judge. Unfortunately, despite the domestic abuse, the felony charges, and the restraining order, it doesn't take long for Corneisha to welcome Shakia back into her life.
And there we go. She takes her back after all of that. It's foolishness.
Which, by the way, is a violation of the order of protection. On Valentine's Day of this year, Shakia even posted a video of her and Corneisha on Facebook with the caption, "Happy Valentine's Day to my sweet and sour wife. Us against the world. Remember that 6 years of toxic love. I wouldn't do it with no one else but you, my love." At some point, the relationship once again deteriorates and Corneisha moves on for good. And for the first time in 6 years, she was not only happy, but free. Free of the violence, abuse, and toxicity. She purchased a new home for her and her children and was excited about moving forward. She even shared pictures of her new home on Facebook, saying, "Been in Atlanta going on 2 years, the best decision we could have made. My kids been through hell and back with me. It's only right I give them a life I never had." She was trying to live a peaceful and quiet life. Unfortunately, her peaceful life will be shattered. And on November 16th, 2022, Shakia confronted
Yeah, I can't show this part, guys. But basically, this is from a camera in the house. And then, well, this person pulls out the heater and deletes her in front of her 2-year-old son.
Corneisha's mother was also present in the home. Her mother is paralyzed due to a stroke and could not help her. Corneisha's 3 girls were
She's lucky she didn't delete the grandma too
at the time, and will eventually come home to find out that their mother was killed. Text messages sent to Corneisha prior to her murder reveals Shakia's devious and sinister plan. She writes in part, "Okay, pay your insurance. My mind is made up. You will be dead soon. So keep talking. That's what I want you to do. I'm going for first degree, not second, and I stamp that. Yup, it's all fun and joke until you're scared for your life. And show the police these messages."
Damn.
This was a premeditated, senseless, and cold-blooded murder of a young mother by a jealous ex who refused to let her go.
So I guess, guys, I'm going to stop it there. I'm going to leave the link to the whole video. And, guys, man, men get a lot of heat because they talk about, men are predators and men are abusers. But, guys, if you actually look and you notice, you see this more and more and more of these cases. I've noticed 5 or 6 cases in the last 2 weeks of women, especially black women, deleting each other when they're in these relationships. Because, once again, usually it's the man who has to try and de-escalate. But if there's 2 women, then there's no one to de-escalate, and they just get in their feelings, and someone pulls out some type of weapon, and that's it. All right, you guys, let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. This is AJ, and I'm out of here.
On the day of Corneisha's death,